So, okay, so Naomi, would you like just to give us a bit of background in terms of how you actually became an entrepreneur?
Okay, well I first went self-employed on 1st of January 2000,
Okay.
quite a long time ago now, and I was working as a national accounts manager for Thistle Hotels, and my territory was Birmingham to Inverness and Ireland.
Wow.
And I had the same call targets as the London sales team. We had 26 hotels in London, so I was quite stretched really. My mum had passed away a couple of years before, and I was just away from home. I'd drive to Aberdeen on a Sunday night, schlep all the way down the country and back on a Friday, and I just thought, no, I'm not doing this anymore. But I used to sell, I used to deal with a lot of hotel booking agencies, big and small, and a lot of people were self-employed, and I thought, I can do this for myself. So my first business was launched as a hotel online booking agent in 2000. And after a couple of years of being confident running my own business, I had 3 staff, decided that I would follow my dream of going into retail. So I opened a shop on 3 floors, and I moved the hotel booking agency to the top floor, and my sister looked after it. Then I managed it as the shop got busier and took over. And then obviously online happened, so I was one of the first sellers on eBay with lots of lines of stock. And when I had my daughter quite a few years later in 2004, I decided to close the shop. Footfall was quite quiet, a lot of shops had closed around me, and I went solely online and created a living for myself, working from the cellar and the dining room. So that's where all my retail business developed, and then over between 2004 and 2010 I turned it from about 80,000 turnover a year to just under £1 million in 2010, and I had big showrooms, and I was importing from China about 40 containers a year. One of the first resellers of Rattan garden furniture that you now see in Next. So very, very busy doing that. And as I was going through my divorce in 2010, I had a major problem with factories in China, and it's usually a story best told over a bottle of wine. But my supply went to other retailers, larger retailers, Next being one of them, and I sent the company into liquidation in 2010, and then thought, wow, what do I do now? And it took me about 6 months really to make a decision that I'd grown a business myself from purely on my own, from that kind of level up to having employing 8 staff and being able to achieve more myself, that I would then support other small businesses in that process really. And Branching Out was born, which will be 3 years old in April. So that's kind of been my journey.
So was there any relevance to the 1st of January 2000? Because that seems, I think, going into 2000 for a lot of people was quite relevant. But to open a business on the 1st of January, was there any relevance to that?
Yeah, I think so. I'd been planning it for about 6 months, and I decided that I was finishing at Christmas. It was kind of from the Christmas switch off. I'd already got my offices, which I renovated, and so I was kind of working on it in the background, but it was that whole, the new millennium of this is going to be it. I've never looked back, although several people have told me along the way, with particularly when my big business went into liquidation, it's not time to get a real job, which is quite a funny analogy. People on the outside in the employed world have a perception sometimes.
So what did it take then for you to really still live with that dream and go, no, I'm going to carry on? Because I think for lots of people, for them to be in that position, having to liquidate a business, I can imagine that would really put a lot of people in a bad place. What was it that it
Put me personally into a place of failure, of kind of a feeling of failure. And you can kind of think about, people like Richard Branson, Alan Sugar, they've all kind of been there, done that, and then when you see some of the larger corporations, like recently Blockbusters, and it's been Woolworths, when Woolworths went around the same time as I did actually, in fact it was just after, and I thought, it made me feel a little bit bad.
Woolworths,
it didn't feel so bad then. But I think really, I actually believe I'm probably unemployable, because I did apply for a couple of jobs as I was going through my divorce, and the reality of why would you ever want to work for somebody else when you've worked for 14 years at that time for myself. and really knowing that I could do it again. And I think when I first set up branching out, it was a little bit in survival mode, because I had 2 children, I was living in a rented house, and I knew I had to find a way to support them, and it took a bit of processing to work out how I was going to do that, but I knew I could do it.
But I guess it's using those circumstances, isn't it? And that drives thinking, actually, I've got to make this happen.
Yeah.
Certainly I can resonate with that myself, being in that position where it's thinking, whew, right, single mum, this has to happen, there's no other way.
Yeah.
And I guess being, having an entrepreneur, you've got that flexibility that you can give yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I went from having no money worries from, I remember at one point I had a safe in the showrooms and just thinking what I'm going to do, but I just didn't really know how to cope with the level of money, to my darkest day was when bailiffs knocked on the door and took the car away, and I couldn't get the kids to school the next day. It was just...
So what have been then the real successes that, on that incredible journey, what do you think have been the key things that have allowed you to be successful? Because obviously I know your business is really growing, we'll touch on that as well, but what do you think has really allowed you to be successful on that journey?
I think vision, belief, and motivation, just that it is going to happen, the total belief that it will happen, and I can do this, and and as you say, when branching out was first set up, I was purely just really helping with kind of social media. I'd kind of gone quite safe in what I was doing, until my confidence rebuilt, really, and that's when, now the business is completely different than the business that I developed in the first place. But that has been about, commitment, drive, and ambition, and also wanting to be self-sufficient and support the children.
Okay. And what's the real, you touched on there that you want to be able to work with people who've got small businesses. What's your real passion in that then? Why small businesses? What is it that makes
Small
you
businesses,
passionate about
because
that?
nothing gives me a better buzz than punching above the weight with the guys. And don't get me wrong, I do some corporate work. I worked on the Polar Express attraction last year, but usually through PR agencies, so I'm kind of the person that's hidden away building strategies, if you like. And I love that because it gives me great experience as well, up-to-date experience, that then I can pass on to small businesses. But small businesses for me, I just have, I've always been a small business myself. The passion and the drive in the people that I work with, to see them come from the journey that they take in terms of visibility online, and the effect it has for their business gives me massive, massive I just feel a massive sense of pride and achievement with them. So, and I think that's one of the things that's changed a lot. I've moved away from doing any particular ad hoc work into more longer term consultancy programs, where we make a real difference in a business, and that can be from the design to the kind of planning and strategy, right through to kind of the reviewing and making sure, and also making them accountable to invest in the business to make a difference.
Okay, yes, random now. Okay, so you talked there about one of the things you felt has been really successful is having a vision. So what's your vision now going forward? Where do you perceive your business?
Okay. Well, as I say, it shifted from kind of ad hoc. I don't do social media management or anything like that anymore because I've freed up a lot of time in the shift. So I do a lot of design work and a lot of processes for email marketing and web design predominantly. And one of my biggest challenges this year, really, and biggest successes, is to have identified that I did want to go back into retail. And I think I'd kind of shelved it and put it in a box because I was scared to ever go back there, because probably of the sort of lasting effect of feeling like a failure. And coming to the Flourish groups actually gave me the strength to be honest with myself in the fact that I wanted to do retail again as well, but not solely, just as part of my longer term dreams. So I launched the Fairy Wish about 8 weeks ago, which is an interactive gift. It's a wish from a fairy, and inside it has a secret code that is activated online to send an email to the recipient with a fairy wish along with all its statistics where it's from. And in January, the Wedding Wish will be launched, which is an interactive wedding favour, which is, I'll explain more about that when it's live. But my ultimate, I'm going to have a holding company which is called the Dandelion Umbrella, and that will be personalised retail gifts, all in glass.
Yeah.
So lots of Gilmour jars and things going on with that. And continuing to work in terms of the web design and the email marketing processes that I work with, and my current consultant clients, which are amazing, and I'd like some more of those as well, but not too many. I want to be able to manage my time.
Okay, so in terms of then those people that are going to be drawn to work with you in that consultancy manner, I know that your real thing is you like to work with people in a real rounded way, in a real 360 holistic way. So who would those people be? Why would they want to come and work with you uniquely to get that? What is it about Naomi that makes you a really good fit for
I
that?
think it is because I understand the whole process, because I don't, I'm not just, I don't just talk about social media, I don't just talk about web design. I've kind of walked through the whole journey of everything. I've got clients that I work with Amazon and eBay and Etsy stuff and design. I've actually putting it all together in a 360-degree approach, because that's really important when you're dealing with online marketing, because it's got to be branded the same. You've got to build trust in terms of where your client is, how they're accessing you online. Lots of clients come to me at all different levels, so I could get somebody that comes and just want a new website, but actually when you look into what they can achieve, is just making a lot of small businesses aren't aware of what's out there in terms of processes and what can be achieved, and I have got the knowledge of all that area, and if I don't specialise in a particular area, which I don't specialise in some areas, then I'll work with associates and pass it out to them. So I have, if I can't answer the question, then I have an associate that will be able to answer it, and I'm quite happy to pass people to that. But what I have
It sounds like you actually share that knowledge, because I guess as a new business you might think, well, I need a website, but not even understand that there's all these other things that you perhaps need to do as well.
Absolutely.
So it's been really to be able to impart that, isn't it, and advise. And I know certainly with my business, you definitely helped me do that, and you worked in my branding, and I was like, oh gosh, I didn't know she could do branding as well. So wonderful,
And I think it's about stages of taking it in bite-sized pieces in terms of the journey and how you can build a business. It can't all be done overnight. We'd all love to wave the magic wand and it all be developed. And I think that's why I enjoy working on longer-term projects.
Okay. So, what do you think has been your biggest success this year?
The realisation of letting go of some contracts and business, which was a very difficult challenge for me, because financially I let go of some long-term financial projects as well, and just trusting in myself to be able to do what I love, creating a life that I love, and that's what I want to do.
So any questions from you guys in terms of what you might like to ask? Any questions?
How many hours a week would you say that you actually work then?
Well, before I went on the time management course, I worked 24/7, 7 days a week. And from the year 2000, I worked 24/7, 7 days a week. I now try and work, I'm not going to use the word trying, I work school hours.
Okay.
So I work academic hours, and occasionally, as Debbie would call it, I lean out of those. So if I've got, if I'm at a workshop that takes till 5 o'clock, then that happens, or the odd evening event. Generally, I work academic hours, although in the holidays I do tend to work a couple of days a week when I haven't got the kids and they're out doing other things.
I would describe that as a percentage rule. So I say I work academic hours 80% of the time, so that where I need to lean into that 20% of the time, I do, and I do it guilt-free, because I know that that's
it's like a norm.
Decided it's going to be constructive. But 80% of the time, then I would work in those academic hours.
And I've just remembered this now, the trigger for that was at the time management course, I had to write, and Debbie made us write an employment contract to ourselves. So we had a piece of paper, and it was how many hours a week do you want to work, how many weeks a year do you want to work, and what do you want to earn. And it was the first time ever since being self-employed that I thought, what am I worth? I had I stayed in the corporate world that I was in, what kind of salary would I be on now? And then I worked it back thinking, well, okay, I can kind of not expect that because I'm happier in in terms of my work and my life, so I'll let that go a bit. But actually, when I looked at that figure of what I believed I was worth, and I worked it back on an hourly rate, I thought, oh, something's got to change. And that was sort of a pinnacle moment for me of being able to restructure the way, and also to have the permission that I don't have to sit on my computer till midnight every night to feel that I'm busy and working, because I've organised my, last night I was on my computer late because I'm wanting to finish on the 19th for Christmas, so that's okay for me because I know why I'm putting in the extra hours. But I was having a difficulty being able to switch off, to spend time with the kids, or even time with my partner in the evening, because I felt that I was just drawn back to work, but I don't.
So what's been the benefit to your business then in terms of switching from 24/7 to academic hours, because that's a big leap, and obviously a lot of determination to actually make that happen as well. Because obviously I can impart the knowledge, but everybody then has to make that decision, right? I'm going to implement this, and clearly you have. So what's the impact been on your business in terms of switching those hours?
Well, I've doubled my turnover this year from last year, working less hours. So because I'm more effective in the hours that I'm working, and I've kind of nailed that process of, instead of spending hours as other people that are in the creative world, you can spend hours and hours over-delivering, which I was over-delivering massively, of thinking, well, that's how long this should take me, so it can get done. And it's amazing when you put those disciplines in place that it gets done. And there are still occasions, when stuff will, take a bit longer than I anticipated it to, but the general discipline.
But it's learning from that as well,
and not feeling the guilt that because I'm not working, I'm not kind of doing it all, that I'm entitled to.
And what's been the impact to you and your family then from switching to that?
A good one.
Yeah.
A good one, and I know particularly the girls in terms of being able to go off and do things with them.
And you've even had the dog dancing in the kitchen.
Yeah, we have. We do our 8 o'clock dance around with the motivational music on, and the dog joins in and just sets the tone. And been a big impact for them actually, is that mum can have some fun instead of just working all the time. I think there was one point previous to it all where my youngest daughter had drawn a picture of me with the back of my head at the computer. And it was kind of like, okay, this is time now. That something needs to change. And also, I have to constantly remind myself of that, because I do find myself sometimes slipping into the hours. But yes, it's good.
Fabulous. So that's just a really incredible story, isn't it, to hear that actually from 2000 to now, all the sort of turbulence that sometimes we have to go through. But now, obviously, you've been really happy, still got that vision about where the business can still progress, where you can progress, and doing it obviously very happy as well. And that's, sort of go back to 1999 when you were perhaps having those things of,
It's not very glamorous sleeping in a hotel room every night.
And also, a massive area to cover, wasn't it?
Yeah, huge.
Yeah. So now, just be able to, and I guess really just being able to put that passion into your business, I think, and that really does come across, having, worked with you myself, is, that it's just, been amazing as well for you to help me bring my vision of life,
And I love that, and that's why I love working on projects, because I care. And I want to do more of the, I do lose sleep sometimes over, but then I want to work with businesses that value the fact that I do work that closely and do understand the business.